Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today is the third lesson of Unit 6. Today we're looking for a missing angle. So not like yesterday or last lesson, we're looking for a missing side. Today we're looking for a whole different new world, okay? So before I start, let's introduce today's music. So today is recommended by Andrea. It's called Hold On by John Lennon, okay? Now, let's look at what we're dealing with today. So same thing, I still need to use SOHCAHTOA, but there's a twist in it. Let's see. I need to figure out what's the missing angle. Let's look for angle Q. The reason why I don't want to look for angle P is because I already have a little box here, so it's automatically telling me that angle P is 90 degrees, right? Why would we look for it? Now, let's look for angle Q first. I'm going to label again my hypotenuse using orange. So this is hypotenuse. So angle Q, I have the given PR, which is 10 centimeters, right? This is opposite of angle Q. So that means I need to use opposite over hypotenuse. So I need to look for angle Q at the moment. Question mark. I know that I need to use opposite over hypotenuse. Now, opposite over hypotenuse. That means I need to use a sine of angle Q. Again, angle measurement always comes afterward. The sine, cosine, or tangent. It says sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite, which is the 10 over 15. Now, some people are going to say, Miss Hang, how am I supposed to find that? Because usually if I type in sine, I need to type an angle measurement, right? Usually 70 degrees to get whatever that number is. But now I don't know what angle Q is. So what am I going to do? This is the little twist I'm talking about. If we're looking for a missing angle, I need to use arc, sine, cosine, or tangent. So since I need to find out angle Q by using sine, in order for me to find out what Q is, I need to use arc sine. Sine with the little 1 on the top. 10 over 15. Now, let's try it. So I have arc sine, so that means second sine is going to get me the sine with the little -1 on the top. 10 over 15. Put it in the ratio or put it in the fraction form. I'm going to get 41.8 degrees. Okay, so now let's look for angle R. Angle R is over here. Again, I need to use the hypotenuse, right? But PR, the 10, if I want to use sine, because I used a sine over here, but sine, I need to find out the opposite of angle R. Opposite of angle R is not given, so I can't use it. The only thing I could use is the 10, which is PR. PR is going to be adjacent of angle R. So that means I need to use adjacent and hypotenuse. So that means in order for me to find out what angle R is, I need to use cosine. So cosine of angle R is equal to 10 over 15. Now, in order for me to find out what angle R is, remember when we're finding a missing angle, I need to use arc, the little -1 on the top. So this is going to be arc cosine 10 over 15. Okay, so that means second cosine is going to get me the -1 on the top. 10 divided by 15 is going to be equal to 48.18, which is going to be around 48.2 degrees. Okay, so angle Q is equal to 41.8 degrees. Angle R is equal to 48.2 degrees. Now, if I add these two angles. So 41.8 add the 48.2 is going to get me 90 degrees, and that I add 90 degrees, I know that all three angles add up to be 180, so that means my answer is correct. So this is 41.8 and this is 48.2. Okay, so that's just checking our work. Let's do a few practice questions. Now, first one, let's look at number 1. Again, you can always rotate your paper to something that you're more familiar with. I'm looking for this angle right here, so that's my position. Again, right angle over here, the opposite side of the right angle. So this is going to be my hypotenuse. So that means I need to use 51. 51 is not touching the angle, right? It's opposite from it, so this is my opposite side. So that means SOHCAHTOA, I need to use opposite, and I need to use hypotenuse. So that means I have to use sine of, I don't know what this angle is, right? I could call it x. So sine of angle x is going to be equal to opposite, which is the 51, over hypotenuse is the 54. Now, in order for me to find out the missing angle, I need to use arc sine. 51 divided by 54 is going to be equal to, wait, I forgot the arc. So arc sine of 51 divided by 54. My final answer, 51 over 54. X is approximately equal to 70.811. So did they tell me that I need to round it to a certain place? No, right? So that means I could just leave my answer like this. So X is approximately equal to 70.811 degrees. Now let's look at a word problem. Okay, so again, something that you guys are terrified of, which is word problems. That's okay. A carpenter leans an extension ladder against the house, reaching the bottom of the window 20 feet above the ground. That's our keyword. Again, we're looking at a right triangle, right? So it says 20 feet above the ground. The ground is always going to be on the bottom, 20 feet above the ground. So that means it's going to be this side, 20 feet above it. So this is going to be 20. The length of the ladder is 30 feet. Now, the ladder is, I could promise you, 99.999% of the time, the ladder is going to be your hypotenuse because it's leaning against the wall. So this is going to be my 30. To the nearest degrees, determine the angle of elevation and depression. Now, let's just look at what this word represents. Elevation meaning raising, right? It has to go from 0, raising it to somewhere. So that means the only angle elevation is this one right here. I'm going to label that as X. So now, again, using a highlighter or marker, whatever you want to do, opposite from the right angle. So the 30 is going to be my hypotenuse. I need to use SOHCAHTOA. So that means I need to use the hypotenuse. I need to use the opposite. The 20 is not touching the X, right? So that means opposite and hypotenuse. I need to use sine of angle X is equal to 20 over 30. So that means that X is going to be equal to arc sine 20 over 30. So that means I'm going to use my calculator. Arc sine 20 divided by 30 is going to be, X is approximately equal to 41.81. I need to round it to the nearest degree. So that means nearest degree, I need to round it to this digit right here. Oh, you can't see my paper, sorry. 8 is greater than 5. So that means it's going to be 42 degrees. Now, some people are going to ask me, Ms. Zane, what about angle of depression? They are the same thing. So if angle of elevation is equal to 42 degrees, angle of depression is also going to be equal to 42 degrees. Now, I know that we have been dealing with arc sine only, but cosine, arc cosine, and arc tangent are the same thing, okay? So if you want to, let's look at another question that has to deal with the other one. So turn to the back of the paper. Again, you don't have to do the paper for homework, but I'm going to attach the worksheet anyway, so you could look at it. Now, when you hand in your homework, again, I want to see the work I have done with you. You need to copy it down on your paper, okay? Because, you know, we're not doing this. This is not a TV show, right? You just eat popcorn and watch my video at the same time. Now, let's look at number 3. Blah, 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 blah. I need to look at angle X. Angle X is over here. Now, opposite of the right angle is my hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is not given. So that means I cannot use sine or cosine because sine, soka, toa, I need to use a hypotenuse and hypotenuse for sine and cosine. So since I don't have hypotenuse, I could only use tangent. So tangent of angle X is equal to opposite over adjacent. So opposite over adjacent, 1 over the 12. That means X is equal to arctan 1 over 12. So that means second tangent, can you guys all see this? 1 divided by 12 is going to get me 4.76 degrees because I need to round it to the 100th. So X is approximately equal to 4.76. As you can see, the method is the same thing, okay? It's the same deal. When we're looking for a missing angle, I need to use arc, sine, cosine, or tangent. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, guys.